Welcome to Read in Minutes. Here's a short summary of the book, The Pale-Faced Lie by David Crow. If you enjoy it, then please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Now let's get started. The Pale-Faced Lie by David Crow is a profound and heart-wrenching memoir that takes readers on a harrowing journey through the author's childhood and his eventual triumph over the shadows of his past. It is a story that reveals the enduring impact of abuse, the resilience of the human spirit, and the transformative power of self-discovery. With unflinching honesty, David recounts his upbringing under the dominance of a violent and manipulative father, his struggles to escape that toxic influence, and his ultimate journey toward healing and forgiveness. David Crow was raised in the harsh and desolate environment of the Navajo Indian Reservation in Arizona during the 1960s and 1970s. While life on the reservation was already challenging due to poverty and isolation, David's greatest struggles came from within his own family. His father, Thurston Crow, was a deeply troubled man whose presence loomed large over every aspect of David's life. Thurston worked for the Bureau of Indian Affairs, a job that outwardly presented him as a respectable figure. Behind closed doors, however, he was a tyrant who ruled his household with fear, violence, and psychological manipulation. Thurston's authoritarian control extended to every member of the family, but David, as the eldest son, bore the brunt of his father's wrath and expectations. Thurston instilled in David a twisted worldview, teaching him that survival required ruthlessness, deceit, and an unwavering loyalty to family, regardless of right or wrong. He forced David and his siblings into illegal activities, such as stealing and lying, using them as tools to carry out his schemes. This coercion placed an unbearable burden on David, who, even as a child, was aware that his father's actions were morally wrong. Despite his outward toughness, David was a sensitive and introspective boy. He longed for a sense of security and normalcy that was absent in his chaotic home life. Thurston's relentless abuse, both physical and emotional, left David feeling powerless and trapped. His father's lessons on toughness and manipulation conflicted with David's innate sense of morality, creating a profound internal struggle. David often felt consumed by guilt and shame for the actions his father forced him to commit, as well as for his inability to protect his siblings and mother from Thurston's control. David's mother, Anne, was a stark contrast to his father. She was a kind and loving woman, but her life was deeply marred by mental illness. Anne's struggles with depression and emotional instability rendered her unable to stand up to Thurston or shield her children from his abuse. For David, his mother represented both comfort and disappointment. He cherished her moments of warmth and tenderness, but resented her inability to provide the protection and stability he desperately needed. Anne's fragility left David feeling as though he had to shoulder responsibilities far beyond his years, adding to the weight of his already overwhelming circumstances. As David entered adolescence, he began to see through his father's manipulations and recognize the toxic nature of the environment he was growing up in. However, challenging Thurston's authority was no small feat. Thurston's punishments for defiance were swift and severe, often leaving David physically and emotionally scarred. The fear of retribution kept David compliant for many years, even as he quietly nurtured dreams of breaking free. Despite the darkness that permeated his childhood, David found solace in education, and extracurricular activities. He excelled academically and discovered that his intelligence and determination could be pathways to a better future. School became a refuge for David, a place where he could momentarily escape the oppressive atmosphere of his home and imagine a life beyond Thurston's control. His academic success fueled his hope for independence and gave him the confidence to envision a different path for himself. The transition to adulthood brought new challenges for David. While he was no longer physically under his father's control, the psychological scars left by years of abuse continued to haunt him. David struggled with feelings of inadequacy, anger, and self-doubt, often questioning whether he could truly escape the legacy of his upbringing. The values and beliefs that Thurston had imposed on him were deeply ingrained, making it difficult for David to forge his own identity. In his pursuit of healing, David turned to therapy and self-reflection. He began the arduous process of confronting the pain of his past, examining the ways in which his father's abuse had shaped his life, and unlearning the toxic lessons that had been drilled into him. Therapy provided David with the tools to process his trauma and develop a healthier perspective on himself and his relationships. Through this journey, he began to reclaim his sense of self-worth and rebuild his life on a foundation of honesty and integrity. A significant part of David's healing journey involved coming to terms with his relationship with his parents. While he never excused or justified his father's actions, he sought to understand the circumstances that had shaped Thurston's behavior. This understanding allowed David to release some of the anger and resentment he had carried for so long. Similarly, he found compassion for his mother, recognizing her struggles and the love she had tried to offer despite her limitations. Forgiving his parents did not mean forgetting or minimizing the pain they had caused, but it allowed David to free himself from the grip of the past and move forward with his life. In the later chapters of the book, David reflects on the long road he traveled to reach a place of peace and self-acceptance. He acknowledges the complexity of his journey, the setbacks he faced, and the resilience it took to persevere. Through his story, David offers a message of hope and encouragement to others who have faced adversity, showing that it is possible to overcome even the most daunting challenges and create a meaningful life. The Pale-Faced Lie is more than just a memoir. It is a powerful exploration of the impact of abuse, the strength required to confront one's past, and the courage to build a brighter future. David Crow's unflinching honesty and vulnerability make the book a deeply moving and relatable account of the human experience. His story resonates not only with those who have faced similar struggles, but also with anyone seeking inspiration and insight into the resilience of the human spirit. The book ends on a hopeful note, with David finding a sense of freedom and redemption. He emerges from the shadows of his father's influence as a man who has reclaimed his voice and his agency. While the scars of his past remain, they no longer define him. Instead, they serve as a testament to his strength and a reminder of the transformative power of resilience, compassion, and forgiveness. The Pale-Faced Lie stands as a testament to the fact that no matter how dark the beginning of one's story may be, the ending can still be filled with light.